Breaking news from the Caribbean Sea: an urgent situation is unfolding right now, sending shockwaves through military and civilian communities alike. The world's attention is riveted on a developing crisis that could have far-reaching consequences. An unidentified speedboat, believed to be operated by a powerful and elusive drug cartel, has been spotted moving at breakneck speed through the turquoise waters. Authorities suspect the vessel is heavily armed and possibly carrying contraband or even explosives, making it a significant threat to any ship in its path. This mysterious craft is now on a high-speed collision course with the USS Gerald R. Ford, the Navy's newest, largest, and most technologically advanced aircraft carrier. The Ford, a symbol of American naval power, is suddenly facing a direct and unpredictable threat. The massive warship has sounded general quarters, sending alarms echoing throughout its steel corridors. Sailors rush to their stations, adrenaline surging as the small agile vessel ignores all radio warnings and continues its relentless approach. Tensions are running high, not just aboard the carrier but around the globe, as the world watches a dangerous game of chicken unfold in real time. Every second counts, and every decision could mean the difference between disaster and safety. On the bridge, every sailor is at their post, eyes glued to radar screens and tactical displays. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation and fear as the crew tracks the incoming vessel's every move, calculating possible intentions and outcomes. The captain, calm but intensely focused, issues orders with military precision. His voice cuts through the tension, directing the crew to prepare for any scenario, whether it's a last-minute evasive maneuver or a defensive response to an attack. The small boat is a little more than a blur on the horizon, but its intentions are deadly serious. It could be a mobile bomb, a desperate smuggling run, or a diversion for something even more sinister. The uncertainty only heightens the danger. Initial reports came from an E-2D Hawkeye surveillance aircraft, which detected the vessel moving at what seemed like impossible speed, aimed directly at the carrier. The Hawkeye's advanced radar and sensors provided the first warning, giving the Ford precious minutes to react. The alert cascaded down the chain of command in seconds, triggering a flurry of urgent communications. Officers relayed critical information, updating command centers and allied ships in the region. As the situation escalated rapidly, pilots scrambled to their jets, racing across the deck to prepare for immediate takeoff. Damage control teams donned their gear and stood by, ready to respond to any emergency, from fire to hull breach at a moment's notice. The USS Gerald R. Ford is more than just a warship. It's a floating city, a symbol of strength, and a guardian of freedom on the high seas. Today, that guardian is being put to the ultimate test by an unknown and potentially deadly adversary. The crew, trained for moments exactly like this, springs into action. Every sailor knows their role, from manning defense stations to monitoring communications, all united by a single mission: to protect their ship, their comrades, and their country. Years of intense training and countless drills have prepared them for this high-stakes encounter. Now the world is about to witness that training put to the ultimate test, as real danger replaces simulation. This is not a drill. The next few minutes will determine the fate of the ship, its crew, and possibly the balance of power in the region. All eyes are on the Caribbean, as history unfolds before us. Just before the alarm, the USS Gerald R. Ford was a picture of calm. The Caribbean sun glowed across the flight deck, the sea a placid blue under a clear sky. Sailors moved with practiced rhythm, the ship gliding as a symbol of peace through strength. Life aboard was a blend of routine and readiness, stories from home, professional training, and quiet moments on deck. The carrier strike group was on a counter-narcotics mission, scanning the sea for illicit activity. The Ford, centerpiece of the formation, was supported by cruisers and destroyers. The greatest danger seemed to be monotony. Until now, no one could have predicted the calm would be shattered by a single, determined vessel. The sudden general quarters alarm would soon replace calm with adrenaline. The crew braced to confront the unknown threat racing toward them. Trouble began as a tiny dot on a radar screen, barely noticeable at first, just a faint blip among the steady sweep of green. The radar operator, eyes trained for anomalies, caught the movement almost instinctively. In the vast emptiness of the open sea, even the smallest sign of life can signal the start of something big. The blip moved with purpose, slicing through the waves at over 40 knots, far faster than any fishing trawler or pleasure craft. Its speed alone set it apart, a clear sign that whoever was aboard had no intention of blending in or slowing down. With unwavering intent, the vessel headed straight for the carrier, closing the distance with alarming speed. The directness of its approach left little doubt. This was no accidental encounter. The operator's voice crackled over the comms, urgency rising as he relayed the contact to the bridge. Every second counted, and the tension in his tone was unmistakable. The officer of the deck quickly confirmed the threat: a go-fast boat, the type favored by drug smugglers and those who thrive on evasion. But this time, the boat wasn't trying to escape. It was coming straight at them. This boat wasn't fleeing. It was charging, its bow cutting a white wake as it bore down on the massive carrier. The intent felt aggressive, almost reckless. On the bridge, crew members exchanged uneasy glances. Was this a desperate smuggling run, a test of the carrier's defenses, or something far more sinister? The unknowns weighed heavily on everyone present. The captain wasted no time. He ordered standard procedures, warnings broadcast in both English and Spanish, hoping to reach whoever was at the helm of the speeding craft. Unidentified vessel approaching USS Gerald R. Ford, you are entering a restricted military zone. Alter your course immediately. The message echoed across the waves, a final chance for the intruder to turn back. But the boat pressed on, ignoring the warnings. It neither slowed nor altered course, its path unwavering and its intent unreadable. The silence from the speedboat was a defiant rejection of Navy authority, a bold statement that sent a chill through the bridge. Whoever was aboard was either fearless or desperate. Tension on the bridge mounted with every passing second. The distance between the two vessels shrank rapidly, and the crew could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on them. Lookouts confirmed the threat: a single speedboat, several figures visible on deck, all eyes fixed on the carrier. The bow remained pointed directly at the ship, leaving no doubt about their trajectory. The time for observation was over. The captain's voice rang out with authority, ordering the crew to battle stations. Every sailor moved with practiced urgency, knowing the gravity of the moment. Defense systems were brought to full alert. Missile batteries and naval guns swiveled into position, sensors locked onto the incoming threat. The ship's formidable arsenal stood ready. The crew braced for confrontation, adrenaline surging as the seconds ticked by. The clock was ticking, and the next move could mean the difference between safety and disaster. The USS Gerald R. Ford is a technological fortress, protected by layers of advanced defense systems. As the Cartel boat sped closer, the ship's dual-band radar tracked it with pinpoint accuracy. The ship's self-defense system, or SSDS, integrated all sensors and weapons, classifying the boat as a high-priority threat. The captain retained final authority to engage. The Ford operated at the center of a carrier strike group, with cruisers and destroyers also tracking the target. Their networked radars created overlapping surveillance, ensuring nothing approached unseen. This teamwork provided options and time, escalating only as necessary. The technology provided awareness, the crew provided judgment. The smugglers were racing toward a wall of technology they couldn't comprehend. The invisible barrier was up. With the speedboat ignoring all calls, the first active defense was launched. The radio crackled with unanswered warnings, and the tension on the water was palpable. The Navy and Coast Guard teams knew that every second counted as the unidentified vessel sped through restricted waters, refusing to acknowledge any attempts at communication. The chase was on, and the stakes were high. An MH-60S Seahawk helicopter lifted off from the deck of the warship, its rotors slicing through the salty air. The crew aboard knew their mission was critical: intercept the go-fast boat, establish visual contact, and issue a final warning before the situation escalated further. The helicopter's powerful engines roared as it raced toward the fleeing vessel, a symbol of the Navy's rapid response capabilities. Aboard the Seahawk, Navy crew members worked seamlessly alongside a Coast Guard law enforcement detachment, or LEDET. This specialized team brought together the tactical expertise of the Navy and the legal authority of the Coast Guard, forming a formidable partnership. Each member was trained for high-stakes maritime interdiction, ready to respond to any threat. The Navy provides the platform, the ships and aircraft. The Coast Guard brings the legal authority to board, search, and seize. Together they form a unique team capable of handling complex maritime threats. Their collaboration is essential for missions that require both military might and law enforcement precision. As the Seahawk closed in on the suspect vessel, the Coast Guard team readied their gear, checking weapons, radios, and safety equipment. Their goal was clear: de-escalate the situation if possible, but be prepared for anything. Every movement was deliberate, every word measured, as they braced for a potentially volatile encounter. Hovering near the speeding boat, the Coast Guard officer leaned out, gripping the loudspeaker. His voice boomed over the roar of the rotors. "This is the United States Coast Guard. Stop your vessel immediately." The message was repeated in both English and Spanish, leaving no room for misunderstanding. The helicopter's shadow loomed over the water, a clear sign of authority. The boat's response was blatant defiance. The crew shouted back, making angry gestures and refusing to slow down. Their actions spoke volumes. They were determined to evade capture, no matter the risk. The tension escalated as it became clear they would not comply with the Coast Guard's orders. Despite the helicopter's intimidating presence overhead, the smugglers showed no sign of surrender. The powerful aircraft tracked their every move, but the speedboat continued its reckless flight, weaving through the waves in a desperate attempt to escape. The smugglers' refusal to stop signaled both desperation and a willingness to take extreme risks. Their faces betrayed a mix of fear and determination, knowing that capture could mean severe consequences. The situation was growing more dangerous by the second. On the bridge of the USS Ford, the captain and his officers watched the live video feed with intense focus. Every movement of the speedboat and helicopter was tracked in real time, as the command team weighed their next move. The pressure was mounting, and the need for decisive action was clear. The time for verbal warnings was ending. The team knew that if the suspects continued to ignore lawful orders, stronger measures would be necessary. The atmosphere on the bridge was tense as everyone prepared for the next phase of the operation. The next layer of defense would be more persuasive, potentially involving non-lethal force or even disabling the vessel. The situation had escalated to a critical point, and the assembled team stood ready to act, determined to bring the chase to a safe and decisive conclusion. The speedboat's defiance sent tension through the strike group. The boat was now inside the carrier's final defensive perimeter. The captain had to balance protection with strict rules of engagement. Lethal force is always a last resort. The Navy's professionalism is defined by restraint. From the Seahawk, the Coast Guard officer issued a final warning. "Stop your engines now. This is your final warning." The smugglers gambled. The Americans wouldn't fire. The captain ordered escalation warning shots. The Seahawk's crew chief fired a burst of tracer rounds across the bow. The effect was immediate. The speedboat's engine cut, and the vessel slowed. The figures on board raised their hands in surrender. The gamble had failed. The chase was over. Firing warning shots is a significant escalation, but the calculus was clear. The speedboat had ignored every signal and entered the carrier's defensive zone. The safety of thousands and a $13 billion asset was at stake. The warning shots were a final attempt to communicate through power, not aggression. The Seahawk's crew chief executed the order with precision, tracer rounds drawing a line in the water. The message, the next shots, would not miss. The smugglers, shocked, realized they faced the full might of a U.S. carrier strike group. Their resolve shattered. They surrendered. This moment highlights modern maritime law enforcement compliance with minimum force. Each step, radio calls, helicopter, warning shots, gave suspects a chance to back down. The firing of warning shots was an act of preservation. The smugglers' surrender was a direct result of disciplined escalation. Crisis averted. With the speedboat dead in the water, focus shifted to law enforcement. The Seahawk maintained overwatch as a Coast Guard RHIB launched from a destroyer. The RHIB crew, armed and trained, approached the surrendered vessel. Commands in Spanish ordered the smugglers to comply. They did, without resistance. The Coast Guard boarded and quickly found dozens of bales of cocaine hidden below deck. The speedboat was a cartel vessel on a major smuggling run. The drugs were seized as evidence. The smugglers arrested and transferred to the destroyer. The operation was efficient and professional. The crisis ended without injury. Navy and Coast Guard teamwork turned a potential disaster into a major victory. The interception was more than a single victory. It was a demonstration of American resolve. The fight against drug trafficking is relentless, requiring constant vigilance at sea. The day's events sent a clear message. The seas are not lawless. The crisis was resolved without violence thanks to the training and discipline of U.S. forces. The Ford's crew escalated methodically, using force only as a signal. Technology played a vital role, from detection to interception. Advanced systems gave the crew the information needed for critical decisions. The story is one of teamwork, Navy platforms, Coast Guard authority, technology, and human judgment. This synergy is the bedrock of maritime security. As long as threats persist, the Navy and Coast Guard will be there, keeping the ocean safe.